Hello and welcome to season 2.
Ooh, some great stuff in store.
Indeed. Very excited about starting this journey again with our beautiful, inspiring audience.
Yes, so we've taken a mini break and decided that this is season 2.
Yeah, we're not. Fresh.
And we're going to just reintroduce the show, reintroduce ourselves. If we've got any new listeners out there, and to our old listeners, we just want to share with you why this podcast is important to us and why art is important.
Yeah, so Jade, why is art important?
It's a big question, isn't it? It's hard to really put into words what art does for the world and for individual people and for artists. It's important to me because it's how I express myself. It's how I get to know myself better. It gives me purpose, I think, as well. It gives me something to work towards. Because when I think back to all the artists who have helped me in my life, you know, all the books that I read when I was a child, and how in awe I felt of those authors and how they helped me to know myself and to feel less alone in the world. So I think the art that I'm doing is an attempt to give back what I received early in life. What about you?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it was interesting interviewing Rob. That will be the next episode that we release. Rob McDonald, who's a sculpture creator, and we were talking about it and a bit, and I see, I think from where I'm at now, because this is always a question that I come back to again and again in my life, because I think, you know, when you're pursuing a path, you know, you want to be constantly asking questions, and you're right, like I think the answer changes and evolves and hopefully becomes more articulate over time. I think that art is an example of the world as it could be, is where I'm thinking at this point of my life. You know, we need art to be able to understand the human potential, and that's something that has been changing for me recently, is my consciousness is opening up and I'm able to see human beings in a different way. I've been doing coaching now and my coaching group, and that has been quite a profound experience, and I think one of the things that has come through from that is that I am viewing them as the higher beings that they potentially are, and that does shine through, right? It's like, you know, we can all get caught up with things in the sort of mundane, you know, society's dream, and we can forget that, like, the sort of how incredible the world is and the universe and the fact that we're here. So I think art and music and these, you know, these kind of higher examples of ourselves, it's like when we view them or when we listen to them, interact with them, we remember that, oh yeah, you know, we have this divine quality, this transcendent quality in us, and, you know, there's something to strive for in terms of, like, moving forward as a species.
And I think art does connect us to that highest version of ourselves, doesn't it? Whether we're consuming art or making it, it does take you to another place or connect you to another place, maybe inside yourself, that is not just the kind of, you know, the roles we all play or the the kind of mundane aspects of life. It just takes you to this different plane of existence.
Yeah.
But I think in society art is really underappreciated, and it's hard to make a living as an artist and to feel validated in your art and to feel worthy. And we're given a lot of limiting, disempowering beliefs about what we're capable of as artists and about our own potential as artists. And so I think one of the reasons we're making the podcast is to address those limiting beliefs and hopefully empower our audience to do what they're here to do, whatever artistic discipline that might be. I mean, I'm a writer and David's a composer, but we're talking to all artists out there, and we're interviewing all different kinds of people from different creative industries. So I think it's important as a community that we continue to support each other and bolster each other and really, raise that level of self-worth and self-love and purpose.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think it's about support, it's about sharing, it's about coming together, it's about raising topics that are important to our community, and to be able to share ideas and to share insights and understandings that will lead to growth. That's really what my whole life is about with my music as well, is that I want to inspire people. I want to inspire growth in them and positive change, because I believe on an individual level that's how we change things on a global level, is that we're able to reflect inwardly and honestly and on who we are, and this, I think, resonates outwardly through art really effectively. It's like the more authentic that we are as human beings, the more authentic our work will be, and the more authentic that our work will be, the more that will inspire others to be authentic as well. So that's a big part of my music brand, and this brand with Pivotal Slice as well is just an extension of my core values and my mission statement. So it's very holistic.
That's a good word. Yeah, I think as well we're really committed to talking about issues around mental health and how your mental health can be affected if you're pursuing any kind of artistic career. And we post a lot about this on our Instagram page, where we have a regular segment called Mental Health Mondays, where we just talk about some of the issues around mental health in the arts. And we posted something on there the other day actually about the myth of the starving artist, and about all of those limiting beliefs that we're told about money and art, and how art is just a hobby, it's not a real job, things like that. And some of the comments we got back, were pretty sad, really. People saying, yeah, I've heard all of these beliefs, I've heard other artists tell me similar things about what they've been told, in their, usually in childhood or even a bit later in life. And actually some of the guests we've spoken to as well have talked about the shame that they experienced around wanting to pursue any kind of artistic career, usually from their parents or, you know, from society itself. And yeah, another comment was about imposter syndrome. So there are just all these issues that aren't really talked about when it comes to artists specifically, and what it takes, the kind of day-to-day aspects of being an artist, getting up each day and creating and then putting your work out there. It's, you know, there's just a lot hiding under the surface, not to mention addiction, things like that is quite common among artists. I mean, I know, especially in the music industry. So we want to just talk about those things and let all the artists know that, you know, we understand and we're here for you and we want to help you and you're not alone.
Yeah, exactly. It makes a difference, I think, and it has made the difference in my life. I'm moving forward with my craft and the work that I'm doing. The evolution of that has been really important to engage with other people who are on that same mission, because I think you are able to hear about their overcoming these obstacles, right? Because it's like, I think for the artistic path is a difficult one. You have to go against society's dream, and you have to sort of believe in your own dream.
Usually when no one else believes in your dream, you know, you're kind of just dependent on yourself for that belief.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to have that drive and that desire to move forward, even if you have to sort of go against everyone and everything, and that's scary to do, and not a lot of people actually do that. I think, like, if you have chosen art or an artistic area to pursue as a lifestyle, you know, you're an incredibly brave person, for one, and you're very rare. Most people get shut down when they're open about what it is that they're interested in, and that's society's dream. And there's a really good book, The Four Agreements, which Janet recommended on the interview that was the final episode of season 1, Art and Recovery, and she recommended that book, and it's really good, and it did sort of broaden my consciousness to it put things really well, things that we all know. And one of the things it talks about is society's dream, and it's like, you know, we have an individual dream, but, you know, we're sleeping at night and we have an individual dream. We wake up in the morning and then we're in society's dream. And, like, for me, I really want this dream that we are all living in, called life, to be the full potential of what it's worth, you know, where we can all express ourselves, we can be creative, we're able to support each other in our individual mission, because, you know, I truly believe that we're all put on this planet to share what we as individuals know, because every individual is different and everyone has a slightly different angle, and I think that that's really vital in terms of moving forward as a species, and kind of overcoming these incredibly huge, seemingly huge obstacles of climate change and of technology, the advancement of technology, and this kind of fast-paced change that we have in the world. I think it's, like, super important that we focus in on that authenticity and sharing and being open and listening.
Yeah, and we both want to be role models for that, I think, as well. Because I know when I was growing up, I didn't have any role models for, you know, people that I knew who were pursuing an artistic career. I didn't know any writers who were making money out of their writing and thriving. And I wonder where I would be now if I had that role model. So, you know, I had role models in the books I was reading and things like that. But I think, you know, we want to be those role models, and we also want to talk to people who are doing it and who are succeeding. And I think one of the most amazing things for me about season 1 and the interviews that we've done so far is just talking to these people who are doing it and who have overcome, like you said, obstacles in their way, overcome the shame that was handed to them as children about, wanting to pursue this kind of career, which goes against society's grain, or society's goals for you, because we're all so kind of fixated on different kinds of career paths, on making a lot of money or buying a house, having children, getting married. We're all kind of fed these beliefs about what it is to be a human being. And any alternative to that runs the risk of you being sort of shunned or disowned by society or even by your family. So yeah, it's been really rewarding for me talking to these very inspiring people, and it's almost like I've now got all the role models that I needed when I was a kid, and I'm a role model for myself as well.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and we want you to succeed and to become the highest possible, the ultimate spirited human being that is completely free and able to express yourself and be honest and be unafraid to be yourself and to create wonderful art that reflects that and just helps humanity. I mean, that's my individual dream, and I know that there are other people, and like you say, we've been interviewing them and interacting with them and sharing with them and learning from them. So that really is the project in a nutshell for me as well, is that it's another tool for growth, compassion, empathy, understanding, love, sharing.
I think it's important as well to, we're talking a lot about empowerment and positivity, and that kind of is the whole vibe of Pivotal Slice, but it's hard as well, and we want to talk about the challenges that we face and the mistakes that we've made. So maybe we could delve a bit into season 1 and talk about what we've learned or what we've overcome. I think one of the big things for me was that when we started, I was so nervous about interviewing these very inspirational people, people whose work I really admire, and it's I think human nature really to almost put someone on a pedestal when you admire them and think that they're superior to you in some way, and I've fallen into the trap of that kind of mindset when we started this podcast and when we've been reaching out to guests. And so as a way of coping with that nervousness, I think I over prepared for the interviews. So I'd write out a big list of interview questions and do loads of research on the guest and just sort of try and learn everything I could possibly learn about them ahead of the interview. And the problem with that is that when you get to the interview, you've got this big list of questions and you've got this plan in your head, and you're not really able to fully listen to someone when you're so in your head. And as we've gone on through season 1, I've done less and less prep ahead of the interview. And now I don't even write any questions. I do a bit of research on the guest, and I'll just be kind of thinking about them in sort of the week leading up to the interview. But then when I actually go on the call with them, or if they come into the studio to record with us, it's a lot more off the cuff, and I think I've built more trust in myself to just be able to have a conversation with them that is natural, and be there fully listening and fully present. But it's taken me a while to get to that, but I am pleased with that development.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done. That's really honest of you to share as well, because we all want to kind of put out this image of ourselves as being super confident and competent, but we're all human beings, and it's all like, especially when you're doing something new, you're nervous because you've never done it. So and I can relate to that. My confidence has grown hugely from all of the different projects that I've been doing, and this one is one of them that has, significantly helped me become more settled in myself, and similar. I think I was nervous starting, and we did another show before this one as well, for Long Throw Radio, and that was. I was more nervous then, and listening back, I occasionally go on one of those missions of like looking back into the past and listening to things that I've done a couple of years ago, and you can really hear the development and just becoming very, very comfortable in this space, because the more that you do something, the more comfortable you become, and the more confident you become, and that's really what really shines through. But I think there's still value in the uncomfortable stuff. It's not like, oh well, it just starts getting good when you get when you become confident. I think there's a lot of value in the whole spectrum. It's like the whole spectrum of human experience is useful, and that's one of the things that I've learned is like, you don't need to do 10,000 hours before you start making really compelling, interesting work. I think like the development to get there is the human experience, and I think that can hold just as much value as someone who has had the 10,000 hours and who's a pro. I think it's just the level of like pushing yourself to do uncomfortable things, which is the thing that we all respond to, because we all recognize that that is hard to do and that is uncomfortable. We all get it. We're all the same that way. So I think, just hats off to you, Jade, for talking about that, and just being real and honest about that journey for you.
What else have you learned, do you think, from season 1?
What else have I learned from season 1? It's a big question. There's just been so much growth and development in me over the last 2 years. I've probably grown more over the last 2 years in a short amount of time.
Well, we've both gone through so much personally as well, that obviously factors into all of our work. Our creative output and the podcast, it all reflects the changes that we're going through kind of behind the scenes. I'm definitely less of a pleaser than I was when we did our first show. I'm a lot more comfortable with mistakes, and I remember when we started, I just hated the sound of my voice, like listening back to the show and having to edit the episodes was painful, because I just was so uncomfortable with my own voice, and I had much lower self-worth than I have now. So I would, kind of listen back and be like, oh, I just sound like such an idiot, and be picking up on all the smallest mistakes. But now it's like, it's okay, there's going to be mistakes. I'm going to sound really nasally and annoying sometimes, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, that's definitely something that I have advanced forward with, is just, we just press record and we go and we do the show. We're not, I think when we started, we did a lot of editing, and it's that confidence thing and feeling vulnerable thing where we would just, especially with the Long Throw Radio show, we would do things over and over and over, like 20 times or something. But I think that that's a natural kind of beginning point, to just sort of get comfortable and just get practice. And
that's how you learn, isn't it?
And you shape, I think I've definitely learned how to control my voice doing the show, because I think it's really interesting. You listen back, you hear yourself, and then you have that auditory feedback that you can then think about, and you can listen and hear what's effective. The sort of cadence of my voice. I've become very familiar with my own voice now, and like our voice is such a powerful tool in life. I read Tony Robbins' book Unleash the Power Within. It's like an audio book from his seminars, and he says that there's three things that that are incredibly powerful about a person, and he was giving the example of people running for president, and it's like the first one is how you come across auditorily, so your voice. The second one is your appearance, and the third one is how you make people feel. And if you can hit those three, in a campaign for president, the person who can hit those three will win. And he gave loads of examples of past presidents and how they came to power, but it's based around those three things. So that's really important. It's really important to me that my music does that this show does that not only do we present ourselves in an immaculate professional way, but we sound like how we look, and we hit emotional chords that resonate, because it's like people don't remember what you say or anything like that, but they remember how you make them feel. So, and it's the same with music, right? That goes straight back into music. It's like music is about feeling. It's about communicating ideas through making people feel emotions.
That's pure feeling, isn't it? Pure emotion.
Yeah.
It's really liberating just starting a project and being fully in control of how that project gets released, how it's marketed on social media, all of that stuff, all the stuff we're always talking about taking control and that kind of thing. It's really reflected in this project because, we just put the episode up on the distributor, and then it just goes out into the world, and we're fully in control of it. We can decide how long the episode is. And I think when you're an artist, there's a lot of waiting around for other people to validate you, other people to accept your work into whatever, publication, or maybe a record label, whatever it is, or a gallery. You're waiting for the people in charge to tell you that you're good enough. But the way things are now, with the internet and different platforms that you can put your work on, there's a lot more opportunity to just be liberated and fully take control, and just put your work out how and when you want to put it out. And I think that's a really great feeling. And I've carried that through into my other work. I've started my own journal, so that I can just put my writing out whenever I want to. And that's just a really great feeling. I don't have to wait around for anyone else to accept it.
Yeah, that's been great. It's been really, like you say, liberating to just take control, and be able to do the things that you want when you want to do them, and to be able to get them out to an audience the way that you want to, and communicate the message in the form that you feel is the most appropriate for the material. That has been really wonderful. And I really believe that part of the process is the audience. It's like you create music or writing or a podcast, and it's a feedback loop. The people listening to it, that's the finishing part of the process of the creation of it, in my opinion, because it's been really fantastic hearing feedback from from everyone or from our listeners, and it informs the work, and it allows me to be able to see it in a much more vivid state, and of much more understanding of what it is that we're doing, because I think we're dipping our toes into the sea of the unconscious, right? And we're kind of like, we're just allowing this to flow right now. We haven't written this out. We've written a guide of what we're going to be talking about with this episode, but it's like we're just allowing it to unfold. And I think that that's true of creative work, is that you allow it to be seen. You're engaging with unconscious processes that are creating the work, and the work gets created by making decisions that feel correct. They aren't intellectual decisions. They feel like the right one, and you finished it when it feels correct. And I think that happens when the audience feeds back. That is when you are aware of what it is. You have more awareness, at least, of what it is. So yeah, it's been fantastic fun just allowing things to evolve naturally, and not trying to control them, or it's a paradox. Like, we get full control, but we're also allowing ourselves to let go of things as well, and I think that makes for really interesting work.
Yeah, and we're going to do an episode soon actually on letting go, because it's very tempting as an artist to stay, locked in your studio or your office or whatever, working away, developing your art, and not allowing your work to be seen, maybe because you're insecure about it, or you don't trust that it's good enough yet to see the light of day, so you don't show it to anyone. But there's something to be said for just putting your work out there in whatever form, and allowing it to be seen by other people, and allowing that feedback to come in, and that it's a different level of growth that you can achieve by doing that, I think, rather than just keeping it all to yourself. And yeah, so that's definitely been a big part of this show, is just building that audience almost before we're ready. I think when we started the radio show, it felt like, oh, we're not ready to do this, and I think that's a good place to start a project from. It's just chuck yourself into the deep end and do it, and get it out there, and build that audience, build that community, because the community is such a big part of this for us, building a community of artists, and helping other people to grow and understand themselves better, as we're doing that, as well as we're in that process of self-development. So thank you for joining us again. We're really excited for season 2. We've got some amazing guests coming up from all different artistic disciplines, all different stages in their career, and we're going to be talking a lot about mental health and our own experiences. So please do continue to listen, follow us on social media. We're Pivotal Slice on Instagram. You can email us at pivotalslice@gmail.com, and we also have a Patreon if you want to support us. If you're in the position to do that, we'd love to have you, and we release exclusive episodes over there where we just delve a little bit deeper into different aspects of creativity.
Yeah, we've got a whole other show going on the Patreon as well, where we're slightly different vibe, but like just laser focusing on certain parts of the creative process. So yeah, there's some really, really good episodes I feel on there. And it's a way that you can support us financially as well. You can make a donation of £5 a month. That can go straight to us, and we can use that money for more further development of the project. Obviously, we don't make any money from these episodes, so this is a way that we can, get some finance, a flow of that energy of money, and we really, really appreciate that from the Patreons that we have, and we would love to involve of you, and you can get involved in that as well. You can communicate directly to us, back and forth on the platform, and you can suggest ideas for topics. We can cover them. So it's a really good interactive platform, and you can also come and find us on our personal brands. My music brand, if you Google David Mackenzie Composer, that's generally where my social media lands. I'm on just signed up to TikTok as an experiment, giving that a go, and I'm on Instagram, SoundCloud. We'll put the links in the description. And Jade?
Yep, I'm also on Instagram and Twitter, and my journal is called Oranges Journal. So if you go to orangesjournal.com, you can have a look at some amazing feminist writing, and my submissions are now open for that. So if you have any writing you want to send me, please do. I would love to read it.
Fantastic, and thank you so much for being here with us. And it's just wonderful to be able to have this dialogue with you. We love you. We believe in you. Please continue to enhance your authenticity and to communicate your needs. Make wonderful work, and send us what you're doing. We would love to interact with you. Just massive love to everyone. Thank you so much for supporting us on this.